Welcome everybody to today's live. And if you're watching this on replay, welcome back to my page. And if you'll be watching this on YouTube, welcome to my channel. It's amazing to have you here. Like we all know, sadly, in Ukraine right now is the situation with the Russian invasion and the war. And today we're just going to be telling the story of the Indian students and how they were able to move from Ukraine. Some of them were stopped at the underground for literally days. And today, one of our guests, Dr. Hanok, was actually at Kiev when the war broke out and started. And he had to leave from Kiev back to Kharkiv, which was really, I find it very, like, it was really an interesting story because Kiev was already like a little bit halfway, if I would say, maybe like 40% to Western Ukraine, which was more safer, and you can cross the borders to other countries. But he had his sister and people he leads in church waiting for him in Kharkiv, which happened to be a very dangerous zone. And he was faced with either saving himself or going back to get people who were waiting and looked up to him. And this whole story also, as well as Dr. Avinash, that was also stopped on the underground bunker. So today, this word will be taking a story of testimony, a story of victory, and how God helped, and maybe one or two things that we can learn. So welcome here, and I hope that we would all be able to learn one or two things from this. All right, so I'm waiting for my guests. I can see Hanok. So Hanok, please, if you can send me a request as well as Avinash as well, so that we can get started. I'm waiting for a request. So welcome, Helen, Joan. Welcome, Bestie. Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome. Hanok, could you please send me a request? Okay. Yeah, go live. Great. But maybe I have to try it. Hi, Anok. How are you?
Hello, Pastor.
Welcome to my Instagram page. You've been quite
Thank you.
here a number of times, and some of my Instagram content maybe you recorded as well. So thank you for being here. So we're waiting for Avinash. Is he
Mhm.
online?
Not sure. I cannot see it, Pastor. Not yet.
Uh-huh. I'm just alerting him. Maybe he thinks we are actually on we're gonna use Zoom. Yeah, because I'm not sure that I did. So welcome everybody. Hanok, you can welcome anyone you know here.
I know a lot of people, Pastor. So there are my
Yeah.
friends, my people from
Uh-huh.
church. There
Uh-huh.
are there are people still joining in. So everyone, welcome. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. I've
Mm-hmm.
never been live on Instagram, so my
Wow.
first.
It's
So my
your
first
first
live.
time on Instagram, okay. We just wait for Avi. I think he thought we're going to use the oh, I can see Sneha, yeah, and Benjamin, yeah, who else can I see here? Bukola, welcome. That's Shalom. You can say hi to us as well. You can type hi in the comment section, like, hi, everybody, welcome. Yeah, if you haven't spoken to me for a long time, you can ask me questions. Hi, Pastor. Yes, and of course, you can see I'm doing good. And Hanok is doing great as well. Hi, Gabriel. It's been a long time. hmm
There comes
Okay,
Avinash.
there comes Avinash. Good. Avi, if you can send me a request, that will be just perfect. Send me a request and then we can get going. Yes, Gabriel, we have no choice. We don't look like what we've been through, but it's nice.
It's a month, Pastor. We cannot still be looking the same, except the people in Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you still know anyone who is in Ukraine right now?
Maybe our flat owner.
Your
I don't know
flat
where
owner.
she is. Yeah, I don't know where she
Hmm.
is. I still haven't
Hmm.
got in touch with her. I'm trying, but no idea.
Hmm. Okay. Yes. Avi. Love from Kano.
Kannur. It's
Where's that?
Ganesh. Ganesh. He's one of our boys that stays with around me.
Oh, love from Budapest. God bless you.
We are flat owner.
Your
I don't know
flat
where
owner.
she is.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know where she is.
Oh, nice. Avi, hi, how are you? Avi came all prepared. I'm sure with his like 4, 5, 7 devices all around, like everywhere. Hello, Avi, do we still have you? Hi guys. So welcome to welcome Rohit. Welcome Shandu. I hope I'm pronouncing. Hanok, please, whenever I don't pronounce a name correctly, please help me and
Sure,
correct me
Pastor.
immediately.
Sure.
Maybe we just give Avi just a few moments to connect.
We're just waiting.
Yeah, it sent a request. I hope this time it's gonna be good. Good. Here we go. Welcome, Avinash. Welcome. Did I take on the request? Yeah. I think it's coming on live now. Hi, Avinash.
Hello, Pastor. Can you hear me, Pastor? Hanok.
I can hear you, but I think you have another
Hello.
device connected. hmm Is it better now? Can you say hi, Avi? Can you say hi?
Hi, Pastor.
Yeah, perfect. I think we're good to go. Hanok, how about you?
I'm good, Pastor.
Okay, so welcome everyone to today's live. Aniet, welcome. Nice to have you here. And on today's live discussion, we'll be talking about sharing our stories. Not much about my story today, but about the story of Dr. Hanok here and Dr. Avinash. So they both have amazing stories to share. I'm just going to do a little bit introduction into why I say their story is so amazing. So Avi, you were at the underground for days, literally, when people were having to evacuate, and you guys were stopped for how many days?
12 days, Pastor.
12?
Yeah, on the
Whoa,
12th day I was evacuated.
So you were able to leave Kharkiv, which happened to be one of the most dangerous part in this war, only after 12 days, right? And then
Yeah,
the story of Hanok, he was already halfway to safety, if I may say. So he moved Pyro before on the 24th. You went to Kiev, and when this war started, everyone was going to the western part of Ukraine, either to stay there or to cross the to other borders to be able to get back home. And you were in Kiev, halfway with trains to be able to go to western Ukraine and probably be safe, but you decided you decided to go back home, and of course you had your sister there and people that you were leading in church, and they were waiting for you for direction and etc. So these are the two very interesting stories we're seeing today. I find them amazing. First of all thanks and glory to God, and apart from that, our prayers as well are with Ukraine, especially for those who are still there. We are foreigners, we could leave, but some people, that's their home and that's where they belong and they have nowhere else to go. So we're praying for peace and we're praying that God will intervene and protect the land of Ukraine and everyone Ukrainians and bring peace to Ukraine in Jesus' name.
Amen.
So we're going to start first. Who want to introduce themselves before we start telling the story? So who's going to go first?
Hanok.
Okay, Hanok, you go first. Okay.
Okay, I myself is Hanok, which
Mhm.
most of them are very much aware in Ukraine, but in real, my name is Prajwal. Very
Mhm.
less people know of it because it's very difficult for others to pronounce it. So that is the reason it's called Anok all around. So anyone
Mhm.
in Ukraine right now knows me as Anok itself, not the other name. So yeah, so I'm a 6th-year student in Ukraine, about to finish in quite few days, and by grace of God, back to India to safety. And what else, Pastor?
I think that's your final year medical student. So in few months you should be a doctor, yes,
Yeah.
and you're a preacher and a minister of the gospel, yes. He's not saying yes to that, but okay, that's fine.
Yes, Pastor. No, if I say yes to that, then you'll keep adding +1, +1, +1. So it's better to
Okay.
be quiet.
Okay, so photographer, media analyst, and everything,
Tech guy.
computer guru. The same goes for Avi. So over to you, Avinash. So your introduction. Thanks, Anok, for being here. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for having me today.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, Avinash. I'm a student in Kharkiv, in final
Mm-hmm.
year. And
Mm-hmm.
same as Prajwal said, nothing much.
Mm-hmm.
Just a casual student.
Oh,
That's all,
all
Pastor.
right.
Nothing much.
I would just add that is also a preacher, a minister of the gospel, computer, tech savvy, editor, photographer, content creator. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to link both of their channels in the description box. Also here, I think in the description there on Instagram, I'm going to put their page, and also if it will allow me put their link as well, I'll do that. Okay, so let's go straight to what happened. On the 24th, like I usually say, just how I describe my experience. I was sleeping that morning, and then I heard some sounds early hours of the morning. I think about 4, 5 o'clock. And while I was in my sleep, in that middle state of being awake and sleepy, I was like, "It's winter. How come it's raining and there is thunder in Ukraine?" That's a very weird occurrence, and that was it. I stayed still up in that morning state, and then I woke up in the morning, and then I saw my phone, and everyone was calling, and they said those were shellings, and I was like, wow, what happened? And from there, that was how things went on and on and on and on and on. So let's start with you, Hanok. Um, Leading before the 24th, you traveled to Kiev. So, how was the initial news for you when you heard about the invasion started on the 24th of February?
Pastor, actually, on 24th morning, I had not slept till 4 o'clock in the morning. I had not slept till 4 because I was talking to my friends and everything. So around 4:15, 4:20, I go to sleep. And 5 o'clock, I get a call all the way from Kharkiv, one of my church mates. She gives me a call and she's like, "Bro, are you still sleeping? Don't you know what is happening around?" I was like, "No, nothing's happening around. Please go back to sleep." She was like, "No, there's a lot of bombing happening. You better get up. Better get up." I was like, "It's okay." And as I was on the call, first I heard a bombing very near to my flat that I was to stay in. And then I had no idea because I was completely sleepy. Completely sleepy in a sense, completely sleepy. I was thinking all was dream. And then when she cut the call, I just turned on some news, and that's when they were like, there's some complete attack on Ukraine all over. They've been bombing the places. I was like, okay, it is too far. But then as the time went around 7 in the morning, they started bombing near my place, like where I was around. So that was a bit scary. That's how I woke up, and I could not sleep that entire day on 24th, if I'm right.
Wow. And if I remember, you're nocturnal. So if you're a nocturnal person, you kind of understand where uh, where he's coming from. Okay, how about you, Abby? Like, what was your experience on the 24th that morning? Where were you? What was happening? Hmm.
I was in my flat, Pastor. I was in deep sleep. My roommate in the early morning, 5 o'clock, he came and he's saying that, brother, get up, get up. That's a huge sound. I thought he's just blabbering something. He heard something. But later I just woke up and I sat on my bed and I was closing my eyes because I was in deep sleep. Suddenly there's a huge vibrations coming and I saw, a loud voices again the sound, the vibrations. That is the first time I got scared, because of that huge sounds, because everyone is calling and saying that, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And my friend from US, Vijay, he called me and he's saying that, what is happening there? I heard the news that, there is a bomb blast. Then when I woke up and I sat, I was hearing this loud sounds and suddenly I heard this jet sound. So I was scared that, I am dead. I can't escape from here. So I was just sitting and I was out of my mind. I don't know what to do. My mom is calling at the time. My brother
Mm-hmm.
is not answering the call, but he's cutting the call. So I picked the call again and I said that nothing is happening. Just there is a vibration right now. And she said that, they are shelling in Kharkiv. There's a bomb blast. Then slowly we have heard the news. And later at 8 or 9, they said that, we have to go to the bunkers or the metro stations there. So later we came to know that, they are not going to um, put the missiles on the people or civilians, but only on the armies. I mean the things of armies. So I got a little cool down at the time. I was a little bit okay after that.
Oh,
That's
all
my
right.
experience. Early morning
Okay.
experience is bad experience.
Oh, I get. For me, actually,
Yeah.
early out of the morning, I was like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. Probably 24 hours will be fine, or everything is gonna be okay. So let's just let things be. But this is like days and almost months, sadly, after, and we're still having stuff. So I find that for two of you, it's quite peculiar because you both had siblings in Ukraine. Hanok, you have your sister.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, Avinash, you have your brother as well
Brother.
in the same city. And
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, Avinash, but something interesting I have to ask Hanok. For you,
Okay.
your brother was in the same city with you, right? And he wasn't picking your call. We'll get back on that. But for you, Hanok, how was it that you were in Kiev and your sister was back in Kharkiv? And well, how did you feel? Because if you were on your own, of course, both of you are elder siblings, right? So you have
Mm-hmm.
younger siblings, right? So you're kind of a little bit responsible for them. So how was it for you, Hanok, when you started hearing these things, and not just about your sibling, of course, your sibling, and as well as you being a leader in church, like, and the people who look up to you for direction. How did you feel at that time, especially when you were a step towards Western Ukraine, which was more safer and they still needed your direction? How did you feel initially at that time?
So for me, initially the thing was, okay, first when they told me, I knew I spoke to one of the member. I was like, okay, if that person is so scared back in Kharkiv, then what would be the condition of every single one? So
Mm-hmm.
first thing I did was I texted up all my leaders, I texted up everyone possible and asked them to text every single one to get me a detailed info of how they are, where they are, like is everyone fine? Because it is very hard to coordinate with all the people that you have single-handedly. So what I did was I just told my leaders, it's better that you talk to everyone because everyone has their own groups, own Bible study groups, so they text them. So it's like get me an info on that. And upon that, regarding my sister, I was not so much tensed because I had an update from my parents because they had actually given a call to her and then they gave me a call because we know in our first call goes to all the younger siblings asking how they are. Yeah. So in the same way, first call went to my sister. They asked how she's fine, and then they gave an update on that. So a bit of attention was reduced. But not only she, I had still a lot of sisters and brothers there. So I had to, text up everyone asking them. I guess it literally took me like 3-4 hours to get the complete update because everyone's scared. Everyone's getting a lot of messages and no one's responding. No one's picking your call. And it's very rare that someone responds to you on the time. It was very panicking, but then I had to trust that they're all safe.
All right. Avi, how did you feel
Yeah,
when your brother was not picking his call? How did you feel at that
yeah.
time?
I was another call, Pastor.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
I just said him like, wait,
Uh-huh.
tell something. You don't know what to say. Don't know what to say
Mm-hmm.
because if he says something, she's alone back in India. If he says
Mm-hmm.
something and she gets worried and there is no one to take care. So
Mm-hmm.
he didn't pick the call. So I called back and I just asked her and saw the situation how it is, and slowly we discussed what is going on. And thankful that God gave us strength that she's not worried at all. She's worried maybe inside, but she had not shown it out. And she always calls back and she gives support to us rather than worrying. She always supports us and she strengthened us. So we made it out.
Oh, very good. Very good. Thank God for strength, and thanks to your mom for being super and amazing, and for every
Yeah,
parent during this season for really being emotionally strong, and
yeah.
we just really appreciate that. So, okay, now let's get back to like the story. Um, I don't know if you still have to wait for a while. Let me talk to Avinash. Avinash, like one of the questions that you got the most during this um journey was, why didn't you leave? Why were you in Ukraine for 12 days when people had left or were leaving? What happened? Because I think we got to talk about this a couple of times. So, what really happened that you had to stay under bunker for 12 days?
First 2 days we thought that Ukraine will not resist. And we thought
Mm-hmm,
that if there is a war, definitely Russia will conquer because in 2014, Lugansk they conquered, and we thought that it may happen like that. It won't be a big war. So we thought that, and we stayed there for 2 days, and we didn't get any information like we have to leave or we have to wait because many people have planned already to leave Ukraine and they are booking the tickets from 20th for the flight
mm-hmm,
on 25th.
mm-hmm,
But unfortunately, they closed the fly zone. They closed that fly zone, and no planes are coming inside and going outside. So we thought there is no other way for now to leave.
mm-hmm,
Only way is to go to borders, but I don't know can we go to borders or not. So first 2 days went like that, and later on we went into the bunkers, and we
mm-hmm,
were just thinking that God who brought us here will protect us. Let's see. But keep on waiting. By keeping on waiting, situation is getting worse. So we
mm-hmm.
decided to leave. On the fifth day, we thought we will leave. So many parents are calling and pressuring us, you better go to the borders or leave. So we decided to leave. So one of my friend, he went to see whether we'll get a train or not. And he went there and he called. He made out to go to borders. So he got the train, but it is very difficult for him to get the train. So we also tried by making some food. We packed everything, and we tried to go to Lviv, and so that we can go to Romania or Uzgrod or anywhere, so that it will be safe. So when we packed everything, and we stayed in bunkers because when we packed everything, there's a heavy shelling at the time. When we are
Mm-hmm.
about to leave, there's a heavy shelling. So we packed everything and we went inside the bunkers in the metro. So the early morning, we heard the news, Pastor, that the fourth year guy Naveen has been expired.
Mm-hmm.
So we were scared at that time to leave, but somehow we have made it next day. We took a taxi, and the taxi prices are very high, Pastor. Like they asked
Mm-hmm.
around $100 to reach to railway station. So when we reached to the railway station, they are not allowing Indians. There are a lot of people. They are not opening the doors. They are not allowing any foreigners to go into the train. So we waited there in the rain. It is very cold with bags, with luggages. Until afternoon, we tried to get at least one train. We missed three trains. So we are unable to make out the train. And afternoon, we were waiting in the metro so that we will get the evening train. So that evening, no one will be, and we can get the train and go. The time when we are waiting in the metro, they said that they are going to destroy the Kharkiv. There will be a heavy shelling. You people have to go to Pishochny or any other two places they are mentioned. The Indian embassy has mentioned that there are three places you have to go to. Those places, evacuate Kharkiv immediately. So from there through the tunnel, through the to escape from there. We were walking in the tunnel. By the time we reached the Olodnagora, the doors of metro has been closed because it's a curfew. So we cannot go out. It's like 14 kilometers walk, Pastor. But many of the students have tried to walk this 14 kilometers, and they reached there at night. They reached there at night. The next day, we took a taxi and we reached to the Kisochni, the place where they have said that Indian embassy said to stay. So around 1,700 students of Indians has been staying there. Our agent like Hardeep, the Bob Trade, everyone, they have arranged a place for all the students to stay there. So it has been delayed, Pastor. We thought it will be okay, but going on, it became very serious, and we tried to move from there. But we are unfortunately we cannot move from there. There's a heavy shelling and everything.
Oh yeah.
During this, I tried to book a taxi by going out and asking the person. In front of me, there is a missile launched. Like there's a big missile launched.
You saw a missile pass through you.
Yes, Pastor. The jet has been moving there, and we ran immediately inside the Vauxhall, and through tunnel we walked so that it will be safe for us.
Oh wow! How did you feel when you saw that missile? What were the thoughts that ran through your mind?
Never in my life, I never experienced that kind of the fear, because the day when we are about to leave our flat, we saw in the early morning the Russian battle tank has been moving in front of our home, and behind that the Russian battle tank is going on. After 10-20 seconds, they immediately started crossfire, and we ran into the corridor and we were staying there. We took a video of that. We ran and we stayed in corridor. After a few hours, we got a video that the Ukrainian army had been blasted, their tankers and jeep in front of my home. We got that video. So it is very, very, very fearful experience.
I remember looking out of my window one of those mornings, I believe on the 25th, and I could literally see like sparks of like fire. I don't know what that was in the sky. It was like boom, 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 and that was the moment when I knew that okay, this is not a joke. So I didn't see a missile, but just that sparks of fire in the sky, like that was a lot in a moment to see. I think I captured that. I was able to capture that on my phone, and maybe sometime I may share, because those things are really somewhere. Okay, Abby, will be back to you, and then when we come back, we would like to know what happened in the bunkers, because I can remember you were sharing every day on your status, day 1, day 2, day 3. It's almost like we went with you all through. When you finally posted you were out, I was like, like finally. Okay, Hanok, now my question to you. Guys, if you don't know, I'm going to try to explain Hanok's situation. Like every time I get to talk to him, I get to ask him like, what was going on in your mind? You were halfway to the borders or safety, then you decided to leave Kiev and go to Kharkiv. So can you tell us briefly? I know we had a conversation about this. Can you tell us briefly, like, what happened? What was your experience from the flat back to Kharkiv?
So, Pastor, actually, as I was halfway to Kiev, many people told me that I can just leave to, different borders and then get escape out of that. But then, just one day before I left Kharkiv, I had talked with our senior pastor, and pastor told me one thing: till you make sure everyone leaves, do not leave the place, because I'm the leader. So that was kind of a burden, and then it was kind of a burden, but then it was an order. And then as a leader, you cannot quit at that point, because that's where people need you the most. That's where people expect you the most. So what I decided was, okay. And one more thing was, I packed my bag when I left my Kharkiv, but the thing was, I forgot to take my passport. So halfway in my train, I remember, okay, I don't have my passport with me. So for me, it's either do or die. I should either go to Kharkiv or I should take that place and go. So at that kind of situation, what happened was it was very difficult to make a decision. And
We have a
someone,
background noise. Is that from
I guess, Avinash
Oh,
bro?
this is one.
Abby? Maybe you can mute your mic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, good, good.
yeah.
Hanok, you could just have you had people in your apartment, yes?
Yes.
So why didn't it cross your mind that you could just have told them to, hey, get my passport and could you please bring it to me to Lviv or somewhere? I guess that's a more safer route. Why didn't you
Pastor,
consider doing that?
that could have been a good option. I
Mm-hmm.
even thought of it. But
Mm-hmm.
then somewhere deep down, with all the things that we have learned so far, it's never good to leave the people under you. As
Mm-hmm.
a leader is someone who is not a boss. He just comes down to the level of his people. That's what has been taught always, and it's not good to leave them at that point. So I decided no matter what, I even told my parents, I'll have to go back to Kharkiv because first, I have my own system. Second, I have the entire people waiting for me. If I don't go back, I don't know from where, what is going to happen. I'll have to get my own sister and others safety too. So I decided, and I had booked my train back to Kharkiv on 25th of February. That's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So 24th, I had to stay an entire day in flat, and 25th, I decided my train is at so and so time. I'll take the train, and I told the flatmate, and I left to train station. It is actually not the main station. Somewhere between the main station and somewhere between the outskirts of the city, there's a station. So I was somewhere stuck up there. So I go to the station. There's no information about the train, and I wait 6 hours straight to the time they told me there's no train. I wait an extra 3 hours thinking there's train. There's no train. So I decided I'll go ask the counter people, the CASA people. There's no one. Everyone evacuated the place. All that you can see is police, and then all that you can see is civilians rushing out of the city. Then I called my friend and I asked him, "Can I come back to your flat once again because I'm stuck up?"
Okay,
And
that's the friend you were living with in Kiev
Kiev,
when the situation started, right?
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he told it's okay, you can come back. So I go back to the flat, and on the very first day when I lost the train, my all hope was gone to go back to Kharkiv because there's heavy shelling in Kharkiv. No one can come in, no one can go out, even if people are taking their own taxis. Uh, and that's the day, I guess, on 25th. I guess there was a video which came out. One of the Russian tank went upon an Ukrainian car.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I was scared and I was like, Lord, will I be possible to go back alive to Kharkiv? I'll have to go back to Kharkiv no matter what. Until unless the case is very miserable, I cannot go back again to Kharkiv. So I decided, I went back, I rested, and after resting, I there were a lot of people from India who encouraged me. All the pastors, they prayed for me, and
You said you went back to the house in Kiev and you
Mhm.
rested. How
Yes.
possible, how possible was it for you to rest? Because Kiev also was under intense shelling. So, what do you mean you rested? Like, I don't understand.
Pastor, when I mean I rested, I
Uh-huh.
slept for straight 9 hours.
Um,
I know it
well,
sounds funny. I know it sounds pretty funny, but what I did was I put the trust on the Lord. I put the trust on the Lord. I prayed a prayer and I told Lord, I am tired because one, it was too cold outside. Second, I was terrified. Terrified in the sense I started to have panic attacks. I could not breathe. I haven't eaten anything for like 24 hours straight. The
mm-hmm,
last thing that I had was a pizza on 24th morning, just 1 hour before the shell.
mm-hmm,
And that's the last thing, and I'm serving on 25th. So I prayed, I took a glass of water, I slept. Straight 9 hours. I told my parents no one should call me. I put my phone on vibrate mode, I slept.
mm-hmm.
And the scripture says those who trust in the Lord will sleep like babies. I slept. That's it, Pastor. Nothing more.
Abby,
No time to think.
Abby, were you sleeping too? 8 hours, straight hours, 8 hours sleep, full process.
No, Pastor. After that, I didn't sleep at all.
You didn't sleep at all. Okay,
After
okay.
24th, I didn't sleep. I slept after 8 days, maybe a 1 hour sleep.
Okay, I believe we all have different reactions to this. The first night, to be quite honest, the first night I was able to sleep very well, but that was just because I thought everything was just like well, and anyone that knows me knows I'm helpless at night when it comes to sleep, except I'm praying or we're having overnight service. When it comes to night, I just sleep. But Hanok, for someone who doesn't sleep at night, normally nocturnal to sleep in that situation, that's really supernatural. We should come take some lessons from you how to have peace in the storm. But
Just
that's
pray,
me.
Pastor. Just pray, nothing more. Just pray, put hope on
Hanok,
the Lord and sleep.
Hanok, we were praying at those times, so don't call us prayerless at those times. We were really praying. I think I think that some of us even were praying more than we we prayed normally. You see missiles passing and all those stuff, and you think believers were not praying. They were praying, and we're still praying right now.
Pastor, it was not because that, like, my body was weak because I traveled, no rest on first day, and then on the second day is where I sleep for 8 hours. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes the difference. Like
Mm-hmm.
the journey that I made to Kiev
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not sleeping and then getting up early with all
Mm-hmm.
the headache and then cold outside. We're
Mm-hmm.
not talking about cold of what we see in other countries like 14
Mm-hmm.
degree, 15 degree Pastor. We're talking about something
Mm-hmm.
minus 10, minus 12. When I was in
Mm-hmm.
Kiev, I remember the climate was around minus 7 when I stood in railway station, and I
Mm-hmm.
stood there for 6 hours straight. 6 hours. This is not a big station, so there's nowhere to sit. There's nowhere to warm yourself. No heaters. You'll have to
So
be on the platform. Wait.
just to put the story in perspective, you left Kharkov before the shellings happened, and you had a
Yes.
to and fro ticket, right? So
Yes.
this 6 hours that you're talking about now was that
Was
you
on
were
Friday.
was on Friday. You were trying to use your return ticket back to
Ticket.
Kharkiv, but
Yes.
as at that time, the trains were not running normal schedules anymore. Yes.
Yes. All the
Hi.
express train was closed.
Hi, John. Nice to have you. Okay, Hanok, just holding there. Next, I'll come back to take your story on how did you, because under normal circumstances, train going from Kharkov to Kiev, it's not possible. It's like people stuck in hell, and if there's any bus they want to take, it's from hell to heaven. So it's like being in hell and looking for a bus to another part of hell. So that's what it will mean, like moving from Kiev to Kharkov. It actually makes no logical sense, but it does make sense because you have family back there, both biological and spiritual family that you wanted to give help. And let's not forget that your international passport as well was also at your apartment. Okay, back to Avinash. You told us you saw the rocket passing. I can't get past
Yeah.
that. Did you take? I'm sorry for asking. Did you take a video, a clip of the?
No, Pastor. No, Pastor. We were in
How
rush. Like
how
we
how could
want to.
you? To be honest, how could I'm just asking because maybe by any means we could get a footage, but it's okay. It's instant, and of course you should be scared at that time, yeah, right?
Yeah, we were running for taxi. It's almost 3 o'clock, and it is a curfew, so we won't get a taxi. So
Yeah.
we are running for that. And
Mm-hmm.
when I saw that, I ran inside the metro.
Uh-huh. So can you describe the first 4 days on the metro? How was it? First 4 5 days.
Pastor, actually, I stayed there for 2 days in metro, and
Oh, you
the
you
other
stayed
five
just
days.
3 days? Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Just first day, we stayed completely.
Mm-hmm.
Night we went there. I thank God because God gave me a flat just beside the metro, just
Oh.
beside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and also my flat is in ground floor. It's in
Nice.
first floor.
Nice.
So, when we came to know that they are not going to attack the civilians, just the military operation.
Mm-hmm.
So we came back to our flats because it's underground. It's ground floor. So if there
Mm-hmm.
is anything happening severe, we can run inside the metro. Because
Mm-hmm.
in metro, it is not so comfortable. We know that there are no restrooms, there is no food, and there is no place. First day, everyone came inside the metros. So along with me, there are there's my brother and one more guy who's staying.
Mm-hmm.
And I said my church members, like, if anyone is feeling that they are not safe in your flats and you have no food, please come to my flat. So 7 members were staying along with me in flat. So my roommate, Blesson, he bought around 10 kg of rice in the early morning when he heard this shelling. He went out and he bought 10 kg of rice and whatever is possible to get, he bought everything. So we had a limited. We have the stock which we can survive for at least 1 week. So 7 people we were staying, and we thought we will stay in flats because 7 people cannot stay in a metro and there is no restrooms. There are few girls also, they can't be comfortable there. So we came back, we cook, we made our food, and we used to be in our flat at night. And if there is any heavy shelling and they are going to say, and they are saying that, you have to go to metros immediately, then we used to run. So after 5 days, after 2 days, we came back to our flat. On the fifth day, we decided to leave our flat. So from there, our journey started for the evacuation. And
Okay.
I thank
Okay.
till we were there in our flat, it is safe, Pastor. Once we came out of the flat, the people were looking over our flat. They took the photos and they sent me. Due to shelling, windows, everything was broken and everything was damaged.
All right. Okay, Avi, I'm going to have to hold you here. I'm sorry about the evacuation. So you spent 2 days in the metro and then 3 more days in your flat because your flat is very close to the metro and you could easily just walk. I used to live on the 15th floor, so it was not really advisable. I just had one floor above me, so it was really not. It was not even wise at all. And about the metro, I spent one night in the metro and I was like, never again. Never
No,
again.
we
Never
cannot.
again. It wasn't funny at all. Welcome, Dr. Buki and MD Ayub. I hope I'm pronouncing properly. Jobin, nice to have you here. So we're coming back to Hanok here. Can you tell us about your journey from Kiev back to Kharkiv, which I find really amazing. In the middle of all these things, we were thinking of going out, and you were going back to Kharkiv, of course. So, can you tell me how did you get a train? How did you manage to leave Kiev? There was curfew in Kiev. There was no train ticket. How did you manage to get into Kharkiv back? We would love to know about that.
Pastor, it's a terrible experience. Way too terrible. And very limited people knew that I was in Kharkiv, like my parents and few of my close ones, and no one knew, like in Kiev, and no one knew that I was out of Kharkiv. So when everyone came to know that I'm in Kharkiv, first everyone started to scold me.
In Kiev?
Yeah, in Kiev. And they were like, "What are you doing there? It's better you go back." I was like, "No, I'm coming back to Kharkiv." They were like, "It's crazy idea." So as I told, first day, there was no train, no schedule, nothing. And I had lost my hope that there's no way, because I checked BlaBla, I checked all other companies, I checked buses. Nothing is available back to Kharkiv. You have availability to Lviv, you have availability to other side, but not to Kharkiv, because it makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense to safety, and nobody's going back to.
Yeah. So the Ukrainian railways, they have a Telegram page, and that's where I found out there's a train on 27th morning back to Kharkiv. Early morning, 4 o'clock, we have a train back to Kharkiv. So, and the curfew starts at 4 in the evening in Kiev. That means from 4 to next day morning 8, you're not supposed to step out. So I'll have to leave my flat by 3 to reach the station. So on 26th Saturday, I just decided, I made up my mind. I told my parents, I don't know what is going to happen. Just keep in your prayers. I'm just leaving straight. And I left out. And then after leaving to the station, now the station is fully packed with people, but there's no information when the train comes. There's no way out, because that's somewhere in between, and you don't even know if the train is going to stop there. Because as far as I knew, since it's a curfew, the train does not stop anywhere. They go from like one stop to another stop without stopping sometimes. So I waited for another 4 hours in that station, and then I made up my mind. I'm going to main Kiev station, main Vauxhall of the Kiev. And then I waited. They told there's a train. The train did not come. They told there's another train. The train did not come. And around 7 in the night, there was a train. Since I saw the train, I jumped on it, boarded it happily. And just before the train left, like 2 minutes before, someone's telling me this does not go to the main railway station. This goes in opposite direction. I had to get down from the train, and I was like, oh God.
You got down from the train of safety.
I was like, oh God, this is bad. So I again run back into the railway station, and there's no way out. There's curfew. You cannot go. If anyone goes out, they are they're shot at sight, because that's what the government had told. So I waited, and thank God one of the lady from the station came, the station master. I asked her, is there really any train going back? She told, yeah, there's a train. You have to run now. So I run to the train. The train came. I was happy, and this time I made sure that it goes to the Kiev. I got in, but I got in, and usually we know the train lights are on. The train lights are
Hmm.
on, people are there. But when I get to the main station, the train that I got into, no light, no people, one entire bogie, it's all alone me. And as the train started moving, the turn of the lights, I was scared. And the scarier part of this is I have to cross a bridge where the
Hmm.
Russians have occupied, the military is there, and we can't even cross. By God's grace, I moved to safety. I reached the first phase, the main station, and waited for 3 hours there. It was around 10, and the Russians started to bomb the railway station. Like the place that I was there, exactly 20-30 meters away, they started to bomb, and they made us go underground. The police came and they were like, you have to rush, rush, rush. And at this point, it's 10 and my train is at 4. Because of situation, I have no idea if the train is going to come at 4 in the morning or not.
How did you
You can't,
know? How did you know that there will be a train or there may be a train at 4?
because I just saw the information on Telegram channel, and they told they're going to post
Okay.
continuously on the Telegram channel. But
Mm-hmm.
after the bombing of the railway station, every information stopped. All the information now is the information that comes from the station master, where they come, they scream very loud, and you don't even understand because there are so much of people, almost all thousands of people in that station, and me there with no much audio effect from the speaker to the listener. It was very bad because you have no place to sit, you have no place to sleep, you have no place for literally anything. You're not warm, nothing. No heaters are working, and no electricity. And my phone was off. That was the scariest part. All I had to do was lose my sleep and then wait for the master to come and announce when is the next train. So I waited till 4, expecting a train. Train did not come. I waited till 5, no train. And at 5:30, a station master comes and they start screaming different places. They tell Lviv, they tell Odisha, they tell Dnipro, and there's no Kharkiv. And I go asking around people like, is there any train to Kharkiv? And they tell me no, there's no train at all.
Why?
I was like, there's a train in the schedule and it is supposed to be there. And they're not ready to speak. They were very harsh. So I find an African who went to the station master to speak, and I asked him like, is there any train? He refused to speak. I tried speaking to Ukrainians, they refused to speak. And thank God one Ukrainian came who knew English, and he was like, do not worry. The station master told give them 20 or 30 minutes and they'll decide when the next train comes to Kharkiv. So just save some place, go sleep. And it had almost been like 30 hours that I slept after that 8 hours peaceful sleep. So I just found a spot somewhere on the floor. I put my luggage, I put my head for 1 hour, I slept. And that's again, station master comes and she starts screaming different places. I again go, no Kharkiv. And on the board, I saw Poltava. So I call up my parents and I asked my parents, like, there's a train to Poltava. Is it fine if I take to Poltava and then do something back? They were like, do not take any decisions in a hurry. Just pray. God will do something. I was like, okay, I cannot, you know. cross their decisions or what they tell. An order is an order. So I find a seat in this corner. I sit and I sleep. I just put my head down because my head was bursting. And then around 7:15, I heard an announcement telling that there's a train to Kharkiv, and this person right in front of me, like the one who came to help me before, who knew English, he came from one corner of the station to just to wake me up to tell me there's a train back to Kharkiv.
You were sleeping?
I was sleeping, and he noticed that, and he came all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, thank you very much. I ran to the station, I ran to the platform, and then I got into the train. And the best part is, I booked my train back to Kharkiv was a second class, and this was a first class, free ticket. Hats off to the Ukrainian government that provided free tickets for all the people that wanted to evacuate from any part of the nation. So I just sat in the first class seat, and then I look back, I look around the bogie, there's no one. I go to the next one, there's no one. I go to the other one, there's no one. After going through 3 bogies, I came back to my seat and I prayed, Lord, I commit myself into your hands. Let your will be done. Like it was like the prayer that Jesus made on the cross. Lord, I commit myself into you. Let your will be done. It was that kind of prayer that I made. And then I left from there, Pastor. Grace of God, the train went. After 2 hours, I was just looking out of my window, and something very crazy happened is I see people shooting missiles to the sky. Like somewhere far out of my window, I see missiles flying all over me. From that side to this side, this side to that side.
You
I
have
was like,
you have a video of that, yes?
no. I have a video of myself vlogging before I left Kiev,
Okay.
telling guys, I am leaving now. I don't know what is going to happen. If that is the case, this is my last vlog because you have no assurance
Idea.
that you're going to reach
Mm-hmm.
Kharkiv.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
one of the craziest decision and out of the gut feeling that I've made in my life is to travel from Kiev to Kharkiv in midst of that shelling. We're not speaking of day one. We are speaking of day 4 and where they were trying very hard to get into the city of Kiev.
Mm-hmm.
They're bombing civilians, they're bombing everyone, and there's no assurance that you're going to go back to safety. And by the grace of God, around 1:30, I reached Kharkiv safely. I touched down very safely. I rushed out to the railway station just to know that you cannot step out because there's an air siren going around in Kharkiv and you cannot
Mm.
go anywhere. You're trapped into the station. I was like, okay, just 1 or 2 hours, you can decide. But then the people, they told me that the curfew starts at 3 and the time is around 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what to do. First, I am hungry. Second, I have no sleep. Third, I just went into metro for like 1 hour and it felt terrible because it stinks. You don't have a place to even to lay your head. You have no charge and everywhere you have animals, people fully. There's nothing more you can do. No food. That 1 hour was terrible, Pastor. Thank God I did not spend my time in bunkers, but I know what that 1 hour felt for me in that. By the grace of God, I booked a taxi and he cancelled. I went out of the station taking the risk. The policeman told not to go. I told him no, I have a taxi. I showed him. I went to the outside of the station. And when I'm standing there, he cancelled the taxi. And one more taxi guy came. I asked him like, this is my location. I need to go to this location. And he told me you'll have to pay 1,200, 1,300 grievance from
That's like
Vaxal.
that's $50 and approximately before the war, and from your, if I remember correctly, from
It's 50 grievance.
it's 50 grievance thereabout. So
Yes.
this is like if you're paying 1,002, that's almost like I don't know. That's
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like
Too much.
it's ridiculous. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And by that time, I could have paid it and gone home, Pastor. But the thing was, people told me there's no liquid cash coming out, and I had some grievance with me. I had changed it for some reason, and I decided I'm not paying it. So I go back to the station again. I book a taxi for 300 grievance 300 or 400 grievance or something. So I book it, I come out, I get into the taxi driver tells you'll have to pay me more, like 450 or something. I was like, okay, I'll pay it, but just take me home.
Mm-hmm.
And we left in the taxi, and
Mm-hmm.
the driver was very fast. He was very quick. But the time we reached Clutches Cup, like your house road,
Mm-hmm.
all that I can see is cars burning, the shots that police fired all around the building, and I started to have a panic attack. And the driver,
Just a moment, Hannah. I'm sorry to cut you short. Avi, when he was saying about the burnt cars and everything, I could see you nodding your head like you could relate to that. Did you see any of those?
Ye- Yes, Pastor. Yes, Pastor. Because I got a video of heavy shelling, and the cab driver was going
Mm-hmm.
in that way, Klavkovskaya, and I see that the shellings were in front of his taxi, and he was dodging it, and he was going. And on the day when we left our flat to railway station, we were going through that road, the Klachkovskaya, and I see that burned cars and the trucks which were used by the army, which they used all the ammo there. Every shooting, everything happened in that road. So even I saw those same things what Hanok saw.
Oh wow. All right. Hannah, I'm so sorry to cut you short. And then you said in the moment you had a panic attack. Like so
yes,
what happened? So
and
you went from having solid 8 hours sleep, sleeping very well in the midst of all and it became so real and you had panic attacks. Now,
yes.
what was happening? What was
No,
happening in that
Pastor,
moment?
like I was cool and calm till I slept for that 8 hours. But before
Mm-hmm.
I left Kiev, I saw two Russian fighters just pass right in front of my eyes. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
flying so low. I remember I
Mm-hmm.
was on fifth floor of a building,
Mm-hmm.
and one more floor above me is the top. And
Mm-hmm.
the Russian fighter jets were flying at that altitude, which they're not supposed to fly.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me scared. And second is when I was in the train, I saw the missiles fly. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but this is like in reality, I see cars running right in front of my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there came a point where the military of Ukrainian army stopped me. Like they stopped the taxi to check what is inside. I was doomed by that time. I was like, what's happening? They asked me to get out. They asked me to show my posvitka. They asked me to open my luggage. They asked me to open the trunk. I was like, oh God, this is very, very bad. And right at that time, the air sirens went on, and the Ukrainian soldiers started to cry, like they started to shout, the rocket is coming, rocket is coming. And in midst of this, I'm standing in middle of the road, nowhere to run, no shelter, nothing. I'm like, God, let your will be done. And that's when the soldier was like, no, it's fine, calm down. We're gonna send you back home safely. So he put me back into taxi and told the driver to go as fast as he can to take me back to my home. So I get into car, and the driver asked me like, are you fine? He just handed me a bottle of water, and he was like, do not worry, I am going to take you back to safety no matter what. And within 2 minutes, he takes me to my place, and I run into my flat, just to my amusement to see my people having a lot of enjoyment inside my flat, eating very nicely.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pause you right here, Hanok. So this will be like the first part of this discussion. So what happened when Hanok was able to leave that checkpoint with the Ukrainian police and he was able to get home with people having a lot of party or enjoyment in his house. So we're gonna find out that out in like 2 minutes. So we end the live and then we start again, right? And then you're going to tell us what happened. Um, Quickly before we go, can you tell us about that short ride? I think you were sharing the experience with me about how the driver drove you and you were hyperventilating and drove you so quick straight up to your house. Share that with us before we end this first
Pastor,
section.
that was one of the fastest ride I ever had in my life. The
Mm-hmm.
driver went up to 160, 170, and in the back seat, I am fully having heavy breathing because so much of terrific scenes outside, and I don't think no one is going to come out of that. Even today, sometimes if I think of that, I cannot sleep. What I saw outside. I don't know how these people, you know, seeing that, staying in bunkers manage, but the grace of God and the strength of God was all that I could imagine throughout entire journey. Though the journey was like 15 minutes,
Mhm.
I cannot describe, Pastor.
Mhm.
Having that panic attacks at back of the seat and driver sees me, he increases his speed. He sees me, he goes more and more faster in that situation. There is army vehicles, there are trucks that are burning, there are cars that are burning, and still this person decides to go as much as fast he can. Just because I was ventilating so bad outside, so bad at the back seat. Even thought I almost felt freeze for a second because I was turning so blue in that car. But grace of God, I was safe back to my flat. And then, yeah, rest of the story after this.
All right. After this, so guys would disconnect so that we can save the video so nothing goes wrong with this, and then we'll connect shortly in 1 minute. Okay. All right. Thank you. Welcome back. Okay, let's just wait a little bit, and if you missed the first part, it's saved here. I don't know for how long, maybe for about 2 hours after the stream, and then after then you can find it on YouTube, maybe 24 hours time or so. Just a brief recap from the first part. So we're sharing the story of how they made it out of Ukraine and their experience. We've heard things like how they saw fighter jets and all of the chaos that they saw, unfortunately, that happened in Ukraine. And so far, where we are with the story, will be Avi's evacuation. So Hanok, we're gonna like keep you on hold for a while. Let's go back to Avi's part of the story. So you're in your apartment and you were about to start making the move for evacuation. This is 5 days after the war started, right? So can you let us know what happened?
So we went to the railway station, and from there the trouble started.
How
Till this
many?
time,
How many were you guys? You, your brother, and
seven,
how
seven,
many? Seven.
seven, pastor.
All
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
And while going to the railway station, we were 12.
Mm-hmm.
We
You're
traveled
12.
12. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So we were in railway station now, and till the journey of railway station, we were safe and we were having a comfortable days. Like we had food, we had flat, we have everything. But when we left our flat, the thing is like we were in a rush, and I left everything, whatever is possible to take is just few documents and two, three pair of clothes, and I left everything, whatever I have, and we went to railway station, and people were saying that you cannot enter the train with luggages, so because they are throwing the luggages, just you can enter with your backpack, and they are asking money because one of our church member, she paid around $400 to get inside the train. She paid
You
$400
mean
for two people.
someone paid so they paid $200 each to get into the train?
Yes,
Okay, but this train was
yes,
supposed to be free.
yes. It was supposed to
Okay.
be free.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to railway station, they are not at all allowing anyone inside. They are not opening the doors. Everyone is pushing, and they are giving opportunity for the children and for ladies. So we thought that we can't make it. We can't make it because we missed three trains, and we thought we'll go inside metro. We'll catch the train at night. And I said like they're going to destroy the Kharkiv. We have to evacuate immediately. Indian embassy posted that, and we were shifted to the place called Pisochny. And thank God, all the people who have been helping us there as an agents, as Bob Trade, these people have arranged everything for every student, and we have got a good place to stay there. And from there, we don't know what we can do because before the war starts, I just have 500 rupees, not even grievance. It's like around 200 grievance or something. So I don't know what to do. I cannot go with my own strength because I don't have any resource. And if I want to go, there are people around me. There is my brother with me. So I cannot leave everyone and escape however I want. So we were staying in Pisochni for 3 days. We used to give soup once per day. That is our food at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m., a bowl of soup, a chai, and a bread piece. So one day we had to drink one soup and we had to stand with that. So 3 days we were being with like that, and after that, some buses are coming there. Some agents are, they are arranging some buses for their students. But in order to get into that bus, you have to pay $500 per seat, $500. So we are unable to escape from there because we don't have money. We already used the money which the people are having for taxi, because we paid around $200 for taxi for 2 rounds, and we don't have money to get evacuated. So we were staying there. At this point, one of the agent tried to help us by giving money and going to a railway station and try to catch train, because they are again uh, they are again sending the trains to evacuate people from Kharkiv. So we tried to go there, but thing is we just had amount to go for 1 round, not 2 rounds. So only 6 people went in the first taxi, and the people who went there, they are unable to make out to get into the train because the security is not allowing them to get into the train. So they are pushing them. So what I did is I somehow called the taxi guy again and said that the people whom you dropped there, bring them back. So he brought them back to the Pisochni, the way where we are staying for 3 days. So we thought like there is no hope. We were checking the news every day that is there any good news in the morning? Is there any evacuation plan? Because they are telling that our prime minister is speaking to Putin so that they will take us from Russian border. So we were hoping like Red Cross will come and take us. So these are our hopes. There is no way to escape with our own strength. So we just left like to the God and let him take care. So when they're arranging the buses, we cannot pay for those bus because $500 each one, and along with my brother, $1,000 is huge amount. So I just said, God, if it is your will to go to India, you take us, and if it is not, you just leave. Because Pastor, the funny thing is like when we launched these live sessions of a Sunday service, I don't know why I spoke on that day. It's by the Holy Spirit that if God is allowing us to be evacuated, He will send a special transport for us to evacuate. And these are the words I spoken out of nowhere with faith. And after the 10th day, the embassy has been arranging a free buses. There are 6 free buses came to the Pisochni, and from there, every Indian has been evacuated. Everyone was able to get out from Kharkiv. So that day, we started to go to borders. We don't know where we are going. We don't know which border we'll go. And the 7 members which we were there, 12 members at the end, when we are there, we were not being in same bus. Few are in first bus, we are in second bus, we are in third bus. We don't know where we are going, all in different directions. So after 1 day of journey, it was supposed to be 15 hours journey to reach the border, but our bus, the bus which is coming behind us, it got punctured. They're trying to repair at night, so it took 3 hours. And after the repair, we were moving, and suddenly our bus got breakdown. So again, whole night it has been delayed, and early morning it took 41 hours for us to travel from Kharkiv to Romania. So 15 hours journey has been around 41 hours. So thank God these people arranged food and snacks in bus, and so we didn't feel anything lacking there. We reached Romania border, and the people there, they took care and they
Okay.
gave whatever is needed.
Okay, I think let's pause and we thank God for $500 for evacuation. That's a lot. That is a lot.
Yes,
Wow. Okay. We thank God for everyone who eventually was able to cross to safety. For those who paid, I think it doesn't really matter at this time when we talk about life, and we thank God also for you guys as well. So Hanok, you got through the fighter jets, got through traveling almost alone, back from one danger zone to another, got back to Kharkiv, streets were on fire, buses or cars were burning, the military checkup, the driver drives you at an insanely fast and furious speed. I know it's not all fun. It's not funny at all. But now we look at it, probably we can find some little humor in it. Panic attack, and then you got home to the people you were worried about and you were there to get. You've gone through all of this craziness in the streets with all the shellings. You've seen the fighter jets and all the rockets, and then you meet them. What? Can you let us know into that story? You meet them doing what?
But usually what happened was, like, as they were in my flat, though they were tensed, they seemed they were not tensed. Like, they were cooking, they were having some fun, they were having some laughter, because that is all is expected at the end of the day when you're in such a state. So I go back home, I open the door because I have the key. Usually you're supposed to knock and everything becomes calm. This is like, I have the key, I open the door, I go, and I see people in the kitchen cooking. I see people talking to their parents cool and calmly. I see someone watching something. I was like, guys, seriously, you people are not in bunker? Because I expected them to be in a bunker because
But
we
your
don't
house is
spoke
on
to
the
them.
your house is on the first floor.
Yes, yes, but on the very first day, second day, they ran to the bunker. So I thought, okay, or maybe this is like on the fifth day, yeah, on the fourth day or something. So I go and I see like they're all having nice time. They're peaceful enough. Though there are shelling outside, it is peaceful. I was like, wow, God has given them enough grace to overcome all this. Though they heard the bombing, though they heard the shelling, they were peaceful, they were praying, they were having some good time. And I was like, wow, this is what God can do when there's trouble. You trust on God and you have peace in midst of everything. So I go back home, I just grab few of my stuffs and then I get ready. I spend my night there
You didn't
and then
eat?
I had nice food, Pastor. They cooked it. They cooked some nice food. Yes, I did have some nice food. And after having some nice food, I slept for some more time. And once again, after like 4 days, I sleep again for 8 hours. I get up in the morning, get refreshed, and then we start planning how to leave Kharkiv. And then we start gathering people. Like by that time, I guess most of my people left on their own. Like they took some extraordinary courage and boldness. They left, and there were few more people like back. And then we had first years. That was one of the saddest part for me. Like you had to drop
First year
them back.
you just came to a country and now this.
Yeah. And we had to drop them, and we made a decision that we are not telling them that we are leaving Kharkiv, because you cannot get them out. You'll have to take a lot of permission. There are hostel bunkers. Hostel people are not letting them out. And telling them that you're leaving is one of the biggest nightmare they can ever have, because they wait on us and then you're telling them. So we just told to all the second years, third years, fourth years, fifth years, and sixth years. We just made up a group and we told we're leaving to so and so place. Anyone interested, you can come up. So on March 1st, if I'm right, we left Kharkiv. We decided like early in the morning when the curfews open, 8 o'clock they open, and we decided 8 o'clock we leave our place. We don't find taxis, so we decided we're walking till Vauxhall. Though it's very difficult, we made the decision we are walking. So we start walking. We reach Serpnia metro, and then the soldiers go like rocketa, rocketa, rocketa. We had to run into one of the building to get into safety. And then we decided it is not safe because literally the place that we stay is very close to one of the military units, and we saw a heavy blast that morning, and then we cannot again stay there. So with all the things, whatever we could grab, we just grabbed few bottles of water, few snacks that we had, and few dresses, and we left. All the stuff back there, all the main important stuff we grabbed, and we left the place. And halfway to Serpnia, we heard rockets. We saw people firing, and then we had no other option but to take a taxi. But when the taxi came, we were asked for 1,000 grivans per like ride, up and down, up and down. So almost all 16 of us, we paid some around 4,000, 5,000 grievance to one guy. We told him, no, you go and you come back. You go, you come back. By the grace of God, we all reached a railway station, and we had 3 trains, one to Rakiv, one to Lviv, and one to Ushkurod. 3 trains. So we decided we'll take train to Lviv or Ushkurod. We waited. The train did not come. And then the train came to Ushkurod. We started going, as Avinash told. People were pulled back, like all the Indians were pulled back, all the other country people were pulled back. The priority was given to Ukrainians, the children, their people.
In defense though, just there, I know you don't mean that, but in defense though, earlier on before then, most of the trains were open to other nationals, and like for example, the train that I used, a lot of people there were Africans, Nigerians to be very precise. So I guess few days later, they started making more priorities because I think
Yes.
the Ukrainians were
Yes,
not
yes.
leaving earlier on. So just in case, so that somebody watching this some other time, I know they may be here and there stops and
Yeah.
everything, but just to put things in perspective.
Pastor, I guess on the first 5 days, the first 5 days that people left, yes, all citizens, all nationality people were allowed on the trains. But as it got worse and worse from day 6 onwards, they made sure that the priority is given to the citizens of the country because that's what they want. And we cannot blame them, yes. But the way they handled us at the railway station, I guess that was very bad, Pastor, because we have been dragged, we have been pulled out, we have been kicked, and they don't even care because we are not talking about the bed of roses, we're talking about a railway station and the tracks, and you're throwing people down from such a height. And when I saw people getting hurt right in front of my eyes, I told my people, please, no one is taking any risk of getting yourself hurt in this. Yeah, we are alive, we are safe. And if God has brought me from all the way from Kharkiv to Kiev, I mean Kiev to Kharkiv, God can take us back to safety. So please do not rush yourself. And luckily we had a train to Rakiv waiting, all the doors open waiting. So few of my people that came were so intelligent. They saw the train was empty, no one was watching. They got into the train to one of the bogie, and everyone got in except me. I was just holding back, making sure that everyone goes. And when I started to climb, the things got worse. They dragged me out, they pulled me out, they crushed me, and somehow I got into train. And I had to make a 16 hours journey with standing, without having any seat, because the train which was supposed to leave at 3 was fully packed by 1. That is how much the people were. Like one train left to Ushkurod, another train left to Lviv. So 2 trains left with almost like 16 bogies, which can accommodate around thousands of people. And in this train, it was full. So by God's grace, we reached, but it was terrifying, Pastor. No washroom, no food, nowhere to go, because even in washroom, people are there. People were sleeping there when I saw. So that was the state we left from Kharkiv. And I guess after almost all 48 hours, we reached Hungary by God's grace. We reached Lviv. We got on at Lviv. We booked a bus. We booked a bus for 18,000 grivens, if I'm right. I guess we paid 18,000 grivens or something for the bus from Lviv to one of the border, Hungary border. And then, but after crossing the border, it was easy for us. By God's grace, we did not wait anywhere. We had not to wait like 30 hours like other people did. By 15 minutes, all the immigration was done. We crossed the border of Russia, Ukraine and Hungary. And once we reached at the borders, Pastor, I guess, hats off to all the volunteers. The welcoming thing that they do is they give you hot drinks. They give you like rucks and everything. Ukrainian border as well as the Hungary border.
Just a moment. Avida has the same experience for you. You want to explain how was it at the border for you guys?
As soon as we reached the border, Pastor, the volunteers welcomed us. There's a special volunteers for Indians, for other nation citizens. So they welcomed us and they said that take whatever you want to take. Have coffee or sandwich or snacks, whatever you need. And from there they took us in a special van to the place where they arranged like football court they turned into a shelter. So we went in that van to the shelter, and as soon as we reached the shelter there, they gave blankets, they gave uh, the inflated beds, and they said like take whatever you want to take. There is bread, there is food, there is water, there is snacks, everything. So you can make yourself comfortable there, and they give us a specific token number to register yourself to get into the flight. So
Okay.
from there, then yeah, yes, Pastor.
All right. Hanok, yeah. So thank you, Avi. Hanok, how was it? So you were
Yeah,
welcomed by the volunteers, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then, as Avinash told, like we were taken a separate bus. Also,
Mm-hmm.
the care that they took, like the way they welcomed, like we did not
Mm-hmm.
have any representatives from our country
Mm-hmm.
because we took a
Mm-hmm.
small out turn
Mm-hmm.
from what they asked us to go. Because
Okay.
every border is packed, and in every border, when people went, you're supposed to wait for like at least 12 hours minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I'm not going to that. And that's when one of my friend, like Justice, he told me like this is where you can go. One of the border where you have no rush, no people. So we go to that border, 15 minutes we cross. So we don't have any Indians, we don't have any other nationality there. It's all just 15 Indians and Hungarian volunteers. So they take us, they give us hot chai, they told take whatever, just as I told, take whatever you want, make yourself comfortable. They gave us two blankets, they booked a bus for us, and then they took us to a school, if I'm right. It is a school
Mm-hmm.
somewhere away from the place, almost a 2-3 hours journey. And then they turned the entire football court into one of the center. And that's when we realized that they have taken us to immigration camp, like where they do immigration things, the visa things, visa stampings. I guess most of the Indians who left did not get any visa in any country. By God's grace, we got 30 days visa in Hungary. They took our stamp, they did all the process. So that was like 6 hours, 7 hours. They took our PCR, they did every single thing. And then after that, they told us, yeah, now we are free. You can go to Budapest. And then from there, our embassy people came. They took us to the place they assigned. They gave us some good food. And we had to wait
Mm-hmm.
like 3 days for our flight, the rescue flight, because we had so much of people. So we had to wait. But it was fun. And hats off to all the volunteers. I know there are people watching me. Hats off to all of them because it would have been very difficult for us to be there without knowing how it was to be in
Mm-hmm.
that country without they helping, the food they gave, the accommodation that they did, and the way like they put in their own money to help people coming. That was one of the biggest thing, I guess. Like I was talking to one of the students there, the volunteer, and he was telling that apart from the embassy, even the students there are putting their own money, their own scholarship to help the refugees that are coming back, to make sure that they do not feel left out from the home. It was an homely feeling.
Oh, great. All right. So, I guess we're almost coming to the end. So you all crossed over, you got to India and everything. So, I have just two more questions for two of you, and then we just round up. Um, how are you doing, Avinash, right now? How's your mental state, and what's the effect of this whole experience on you?
right now I'm good, Pastor. But the day when I reached India, from there to I used to have a nightmares. I used to feel like I'm in war. I used to get a dreams that I'm still there. I'm still stuck there. Around for 7 to 10 days, I used to have those dreams, and I can feel like still I am in that situations. After 10 days, I feel okay. The dream stopped, and the environment here is making me to adapt to this place. And slowly I recovered, and I feel good right now, Pastor.
Oh, great. Thank God. Hanoka, how about you?
After the few days, as I told, it was quite terrible, quite hectic, and then it was quite terrifying too because uh, any sound that you hear is like the sound that you heard back in Ukraine. I
Mm-hmm.
remember one of the night. not one of the night, one of the afternoon. I was too tired. I was having my sleep, and then one of the car made some noise. I
Mm-hmm.
got up very terrified from my sleep, calling all my parents, "Where are you? Where are you?" Because that had still been in my mind. Sometimes even now, if some flight goes over my house or something, I still get terrified. Like, are we back into that? Though it's been like a month and a half now, it's still terrible, Pastor. You can't even imagine because
I can't actually I can't imagine because you both saw fighter jets. I didn't have any of those experiences. But I can remember the first 2 nights after this. Um, I could hear imaginary sounds in my head for the first 2 nights. I had to really just sit down and get. I don't know. I don't know how that happened, but for the first 2 nights, when I woke up every morning, it was almost like I was hearing shellings, and obviously they were just playbacks of what I've been through for
Mhm.
a couple of days. So, how did you adjust, Avi? What do you think? Do you think it just passed, or there was one or two things you did that helped you adjust? Maybe someone is still going through this. They could just learn one or two things from you.
First few days, Pastor, I cannot pass through that. I need help to come out of that because I live in a place, nearby to the sea where army is there because we have a naval base here. So every day the helicopters, the jets, everything, they just
Mm-hmm.
go. So when I used to hear this voice, I used to get just because the same panic or the fear what we have in Kharkiv, the same thing, the same feeling I used to have in India after coming back here when I hear those sounds. So slowly I tried myself, to involve in other things, uh, to involve in other jobs or any other works in the home. So deviating myself and finding people to speak because as soon as we arrive here, there is no people right now to speak because most of the friends and everyone has been in their works, jobs in other places. So it has been difficult to come out of that. Slowly made myself, and it passed after a few days.
Oh, great. Thank you very much for that. Hanok, how about you?
Pastor, it's almost all the same. Like as I told, like since there are no people around to talk, to go out, and this is not like an ordinary vacation that we come and usually go back. This is something very difficult. So everyone's busy. And big shout out to my parents. They made sure that I'm comfortable, I'm okay. And there are people
Mm-hmm.
that came in to speak. There are people that sent text. Like shout out to everyone that reached out after I'm back, like asking, like, are you
Mm-hmm.
okay? Are you doing fine? Should we come? Should I like? But it still takes a bit of time to get adjusted to this place. It's not easy to get rid of what has happened because
Mm-hmm.
me basically 3 years I've never come back to India.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a complete different type, complete different climate, complete different things. And back in Ukraine, like I had people around me. Like
Mm-hmm.
any given day, any given night, I do have people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have to come back to place and you're all alone. You can't go speak. Yes, parents are there, sister is there, yes. But apart from that, the conversations we used to have or the purpose that we used to serve there,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to an halt, I still remember when I came back on the first day, we went somewhere and we were talking and I got way too emotional. I started to burst like us that 15 days, 14 days, whatever I traveled, I just held to my emotions. And when I came back to Bangalore, I guess I burst out a lot. I bursted out a lot because I could not even imagine that I'm out of Ukraine. I've left what I was doing. I've left my people, and we had to say some goodbyes that you can't even imagine.
We never got to say goodbye,
Yeah, we
actually.
literally not to anyone, Pastor, not to anyone, because we had a lot of plans planned for March,
Mm-hmm.
April, May, and then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden
Mm-hmm.
you're saying goodbyes, you're flying, you have not seen the people you've seen on a Sunday because Sunday
Mm-hmm.
we had a worship, and then
Mm-hmm.
23 I go to Kiev. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I have not seen anyone till I come to Ukraine, back to Kharkiv also. All I see is
Mm-hmm.
those people that I met in railway station,
Mm-hmm.
no one else. So by God's grace, I am kind of adjusted now. Not so much, but yeah, like there are
Mm-hmm.
people, church people, there are friends that are talking back again,
Mm-hmm.
like they're
Mm-hmm.
texting him, they're checking up. And by
Mm-hmm.
God's grace, we have everyday prayer that happens at 11
Mm-hmm.
o'clock. So
Mm-hmm.
mingling with them just clearing out my mind then and there, back to all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, Hanok, you go first, and I will conclude. Finally, can you quickly just tell us what's the greatest lesson you picked out? You don't have to pick out a lesson because it's really complicated. If there is any, by any means, if you have something you learned from this whole experience, maybe you can share. And then number two, if someone wants to help anyone who came out of this situation, how do you think they can help? School, parents, family, friends, organizations. Maybe somebody stumbles on this video, somewhere watches it, and they feel like, how could we help? The school probably watch. What could they do? What do you think? If you understand what I'm trying to ask. So those two things,
Mhm.
before we conclude. Yeah.
Okay, so first thing, Pastor, what lesson I've learned? Many times we know the preachers that we preach, the messages that we preach, sometimes it becomes reality in our lives, and we'll have to stand on what we preach.
Mhm.
So I remember on the Sunday I preached about, putting all trust on God, and then I had to put that into reality in my life, keeping all the trust on the Lord, because He's capable of anything. You just need to open Him, trust in Him, and He's able to deliver you supernaturally. Even
Mhm.
no man can imagine, no eyes has seen, no ear has heard what God has done. And when I come and say that I have crossed the borders 15 minutes, which none of us that, I don't think that someone can even boldly testify that God was so faithful. I can boldly testify God has been so faithful in my life. Supernaturally, 15 minutes crossing the borders, no harm to anyone. And Psalms 91 that we always pray came so much into reality into my life. Though 1,000 fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, He is there to protect you. So anyone watching, any situation, no matter what it is, war, no war, famine, just trust in the Lord. He's able, and put your hope on the Lord. He's able to bring you out. That one lesson I can, Pastor, put it out. And then the second question, how can someone help the person right now? First, do not ask them the question, what next? None of them have any idea, including us. We have no idea, but our trust is in the Lord, and He is the one who has called us, and He'll never go us, make us go orphan. That's what the scripture says. He's protecting us like the apple of the eye. So put the trust on the Lord, wait for His time, because the God who has started the good work will complete. So do not go ask what next. God is making a way, and they'll tell you when He does. Second, do not pressurize them. Give them their own time. If they're not talking to you, if they're not texting you, or they've not seen you, just give them some time, because they still need to get adjusted. And anyone that is ready to help regarding the schools or regarding the things, you're welcome. But just that, know that few of them don't have transcripts, few of them don't have any documents at all right now. If you can help them with that, you're free to talk to them and ask them. And what else? What else? Just take care of them, very good care of them, asking how they're doing, are they fine? But not that, you show your sympathy just for one day. Every day, talk to them.
All right.
That's it,
Thank you
Pastor.
so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And over to you, Abby.
Yes, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
This war, the experience. Many of us say that this is a bad experience, but this bad experience will help us to be a good, better, and best person also. Because I learned one thing from this war, Pastor. Many of us will run after something or the other in our lives in this world to achieve something, but at the end, those all are nothing. We will not carry those. In this war, we earn many things in this world. We try to receive many things in this world, but when the time comes, there is nothing that you can carry. In this war, it has taught that first your relationship with God, your relationship with the people. That's the primary thing it taught me. Your belongings, your selfish nature will not help you. The only thing will help you is like your good heart and your good life. So when I was going through this war in this situation, even the rich, even the poor have been in the metros. The people who are having food, the people who are not having food, they share the same food in the metros. In the same way, Pastor, when I've been in the metro, we don't have anything to sleep there. I was just lying down. I was putting the water bottle as a pillow under my head. I don't know from where a lady bought a pillow and she placed and went. It shows that we have to share. We cannot be selfish. We have to help. We cannot be selfish to protect ourselves. Always sacrifice. It has taught many things what we preach, many things what we learn in our lives. It will become a practice when you go through those situations. So never say that those are bad situations, but every situation which you are looking it as bad is teaching something good in our lives. So I have learned very much in these few days. And also, Pastor, when you serve someone, when you serve God, or when you serve someone in need, it will not go in vain. On that day, Pastor, the things what we have did, the things what we have seen has been a reality, that God has protected and brought us out from there without spending a rupee there. Everything, without anything, God has brought us to the safe place in this India, and we reached our homes. So I will say only one thing, Pastor. Every experience what we had in this 12 days is a better experience for us. Just don't see with your mortal eyes, but look into your heart what we have learned. So it is a good experience for me. It's a better experience for me. And second question what we have asked is like, how can people help? Yes, as Hanok said, don't ask the questions, but try to know what they want, not by asking questions, but having a fellowship with them. It's like, if a person goes in through an accident, they need a care, they need a support, they need, um, a good care for each and everything what they need. In the same way, Pastor, the people who have came from this situation have gone through a mental accident. Then they are traumatized. They need a care, not by asking the questions or bombarding them what is happening and knowing what is happening. But they should know what is happening by the care what they show, and they should try to meet that if they can. And if they can help in that situation, they should help them. That is the only way you can help them, and that is the only way you can bring them up.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hanok. Thank you,
Pastor,
Abby, for yes.
one last thing
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to
Mm-hmm.
add. We have come through such difficult times, and something that God reminded me was that just right now was that as you're telling, none of us got to say goodbyes when we are back there. I know few people that had hatred towards me. I know few people that hated me. Just one request to everyone out there, whoever watches us, love the people that you can. Never show hatred to anyone. Never keep your ego. Keep your ego aside. Keep your pride aside. Keep what you know aside. If God has placed someone above you, respect them, love them, take care of them. Because when the time comes, you don't even know what is going to happen. Like just the way we were speaking, we never got to say goodbyes to anyone. It was a random. And now in the later days, when someone asks you, how was this person with you? How was this person's life with you? What will you even tell them? And you call yourself a Christian? I'm sorry, you cannot tell you're a Christian by not showing the love. The scripture says, love the people, love. And when you're not able to love someone, how can you even tell that you're a true Christian? When you're not ready to serve and you want to have your ego, you want to have your pride, and you want to take your own set of people run out of, then what are the people given under you as your sheeps? Maybe there is someone watching me as a leader, maybe there's someone watching me as a minister. I'm sorry, but from my point of experience, you're not supposed to leave anyone behind. All are your family. Your family, maybe biologically or spiritually, you will have to take care, love every single one.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hanok. That's one really central lesson. I think all of the lessons we've just spoken about is just love. We never may be able to say proper goodbyes or fix our situations and anything that's happening, but living at peace with God, with men, and with everyone around is just a very sure way to live life fully. All right, so thank you guys for being here. Thank you, men of God, doctors, colleagues, double
Thank you,
colleagues.
Pastor.
It was really nice. Thank you for sharing, and for everyone who was here and everyone who will see the playback as well. We hope that this bless you. Finally, just a word of prayer for Ukraine. We can tell our experience, but we know it's way, way difficult, be it from Ukraine and being there. For us, we can go back home. Maybe for now, we worry about our school, maybe for people, some people about education, but some people worry about their origin, their land, their houses, everything that they belong. It's what much more than we can ever imagine for ourselves. So we don't even know what they're going through. So our prayers are just with them, the people of Ukraine, the land, and that God would restore, give the leaders the wisdom, and everyone that's still there that can't leave, that God will protect them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So thanks everyone. I think part 1 is going to be edited by Avi. He will post it and send to me. I'll post on YouTube. Part 2 will be edited by Hanok and they'll post on YouTube. I'm not going to do anything about this. And I'm saying it online because I'm working on this video for YouTube. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone for coming. This just, I believe it's just a testimony of God's goodness. And we just give all the glory to God.
To God.
And
Amen.
we are also thanking Him, like you said, that He that begun a good work in every one of our lives will perfect it. People may not know what next, but you know God, and God has everything from beginning to end. And as we keep following Him, the Bible says that all things will work together for good for they that love God and are called according to His purpose. So
Amen.
we may not have all the answers and we figure it, but we know that just as we've kept on testifying, we'll keep on testifying of one victory to another victory in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. All right, so thank you, Avi. Thank you,
Thank you so much, Pastor, for
Fragile,
inviting us.
and Hanok, as we know you in Ukraine. And thank you everyone for watching. And maybe I don't think I'll be on Instagram Live anytime soon, except maybe for any content relating to this. Some people reached out to me when they saw the flyer, they want to share their story too. So I don't know if I'll have the time. If I'll have the time to schedule and we'll share more stories. So thank you guys, and that's the end of the live. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Pastor.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Avi.